Section 1. So, what on earth is ICE? Let's dive into what this agency really is and why it's become such a focal point in discussions about immigration. It sounds like a villains group from a budget spy movie, something straight out of a low-budget action flick where the bad guys have a catchy, intimidating name. You almost expect them to be plotting world domination from a hidden lair, but it's real, and it's powerful. This isn't fiction, it's a US federal agency with significant authority and a broad mandate. ICE stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, a name that only begins to hint at the scope of its operations. ICE is a US federal agency created in 2003, born in the aftermath of 9/11 as part of a larger restructuring of national security agencies. Its primary mission is to enforce immigration laws throughout the United States, a task that involves a wide range of activities and responsibilities. Their job? What exactly do they do on a day-to-day basis? Everything from investigating human trafficking, a critical and often overlooked aspect of their work, to arresting and deporting people without legal status, which is perhaps the most visible and controversial part of their mandate. This includes individuals who have overstayed their visas, entered the country without authorization, or have been convicted of certain crimes. When we talk about an ICE raid, a term that evokes strong reactions and images, picture agents showing up, often unannounced, arriving in marked and unmarked vehicles, sometimes in the early hours of the morning, at homes or workplaces, locations where people feel safe and secure, suddenly disrupted by federal agents. Their objective is to arrest those they believe are undocumented, individuals suspected of violating immigration laws. These raids are rarely neat or quiet, they are often high-pressure situations filled with tension and uncertainty. They're chaotic, often sweeping up not just targets but also creating a wide net of potential detainees. But anyone nearby who can't immediately prove their status, leading to confusion and fear among those present. The result? Fear and confusion, a palpable sense of anxiety that permeates the affected communities, ripple through entire communities, creating a climate of distrust and apprehension that extends far beyond the individuals directly targeted. Not just those detained, but their families, friends and neighbors who fear they could be next. Understanding what ICE is and how raids work, the legal framework they operate within, and the potential consequences for those involved isn't just trivia. It's essential knowledge for millions who live with the daily reality or the looming threat of ICE enforcement actions. It's about empowering communities with information and fostering a deeper understanding of a complex and often misunderstood system. Section 2. The why behind the raids. It's complicated. Officially, ICE says raids are about enforcing laws and protecting national security. In reality, who gets targeted can change dramatically with each administration. Sometimes it's felons, sometimes it's anyone undocumented. Raids are often political theater, designed to send a message and make headlines, not just to remove dangerous people. Collateral arrests, detaining people who weren't even the original targets, are common, making the process feel more like a dragnet than precise law enforcement. The rules are always shifting, fueling anxiety and uncertainty. These operations disrupt families, workplaces, and entire communities. The why is rarely as simple as it sounds. Section 3. Myth number 1. ICE only goes after hardened criminals. This myth is everywhere that ICE is only after violent offenders and gang members. It's a comforting story, making enforcement seem clean and justified. But it's also a powerful PR tool. If you object, you're accused of defending criminals. The truth? There's no clear line between good and bad immigrants in ICE's eyes. Many believe they're safe if they have no criminal record, but that's a dangerous assumption. This myth leaves families unprepared and vulnerable. Believing ICE only targets bad hombres is one of the riskiest misconceptions out there. Section 4. Fact-checking the criminal myth, the not-so-scary truth. The reality. Most people arrested by ICE have no criminal record or only minor infractions. Government data shows many targets are parents, workers, and longtime residents whose only offense is an immigration violation. The term criminal is stretched to include minor offenses, sometimes decades old, or simply re-entering the country to reunite with family. Equating a traffic ticket with a violent felony is misleading and dehumanizing. ICE's priorities are broad and often politically driven, not focused solely on public safety. The hardened criminal's narrative is a convenient fiction. Most people caught in these raids are no threat to anyone. Focusing only on the criminal element misses the real human story. Here's another big myth. If ICE knocks, you have to let them in. The reality is you don't, unless they have a warrant signed by a judge. ICE agents often rely on intimidation, yelling police, and creating confusion to get people to open the door. Many people comply out of fear or lack of information, giving up their rights without realizing it. Language barriers and mistrust of authorities make it even harder to know what's legal. The entire strategy of a raid often hinges on convincing someone to open the door. You are not legally required to do so without a proper warrant. This myth thrives on fear and misinformation. Don't fall for it. Let's be clear, you do not have to open your door to ICE unless they have a judicial warrant. Administrative warrants, often used by ICE, are not enough. Only a judge's signature counts. Ask to see the warrant through a window or under the door. If it's not signed by a judge or doesn't name your address, you can refuse entry. Say, "I do not consent to a search," and keep the door closed. This is your Fourth Amendment right, no matter your status. Refusing entry without a proper warrant is not obstruction. It's the law. Stay calm, use key phrases, and remember, you have the right to remain silent and to speak to a lawyer. Knowing and using your rights can make all the difference. To truly understand the weight of these immigration enforcement actions, let's delve into a real-life scenario. We need to see beyond the statistics and understand the human cost. Meet the Garcias, a family who have called the U.S. home for many years. They've built a life, contributed to their community, and have no criminal record whatsoever. They represent countless families striving for the American dream. One seemingly ordinary morning, before the sun even begins to peek over the horizon, ICE agents arrive at their doorstep, banging forcefully on the door. The suddenness and intensity of the situation are designed to shock and intimidate. Confused, disoriented, and understandably scared, Carlos cautiously opens the door just a crack, unsure of what awaits him on the other side. He's met with an immediate demand for entry. Before he can fully comprehend the situation, the agents push their way in, demanding to see their papers, their immigration documents. The sanctity of their home is immediately violated. The sudden intrusion throws the entire family into utter chaos. What was once a peaceful home is now a scene of fear and uncertainty. The children witnessing the scene unfold begin to cry, overwhelmed by the fear and confusion. Their sense of safety and security is shattered. The parents, Carlos and Elena, are immediately separated and subjected to intense questioning, their every word scrutinized. It turns out the agents have a warrant, but it's for someone who used to live at that address, someone who hasn't resided there for quite some time. Despite the incorrect address, the entire family is now under intense scrutiny, their lives turned upside down in a matter of moments. In the midst of the chaos, Carlos and Elena are unable to immediately produce the documentation needed to definitively prove their legal status. As a result, Carlos is detained and taken away, leaving his family behind, terrified and uncertain of what the future holds. The family is left utterly traumatized, their lives irrevocably upended in a matter of minutes, all due to a flawed enforcement action. The children are suddenly forced to navigate complex adult problems, grappling with the absence of their father and the uncertainty of their family's future. With Carlos detained, the family's primary source of income is abruptly lost, plunging them into financial hardship and instability. A pervasive sense of fear now permeates their lives, a constant reminder of the vulnerability they face. All of this, triggered by a raid conducted at the wrong address, resulting in a collateral arrest that shattered a family's life. The ripple effects of this single event can last for years, impacting the children's development, the family's well-being, and their ability to thrive in their community. The scars of such an experience run deep and can last a lifetime. So what can you actually do when faced with the daunting prospect of potential immigration enforcement? It's a question that weighs heavily on many minds, and the anxiety it provokes is understandable. But remember, feeling overwhelmed doesn't have to translate into inaction. There are concrete steps you can take, practical measures to implement, that can significantly improve your situation and provide a sense of control. Preparation beats panic. Being proactive rather than reactive is key. Start by gathering all your important documents, birth certificates, passports, any immigration-related paperwork, and keep them organized and readily accessible. Think of it as building a fortress of information around yourself and your family. First, don't open the door to anyone you don't recognize or aren't expecting. This is a fundamental safety measure. Unless ICE has a judicial warrant. A judicial warrant is a specific legal document signed by a judge authorizing entry into your home. Communicate through the door, ask to see the warrant, ask them to slide it under the door or hold it up to a window so you can examine it carefully, and refuse entry if it's not valid. A warrant that isn't signed by a judge or that has incorrect information is not valid. You have the right to deny entry in such cases. Second, you have the right to remain silent. This is a cornerstone of your legal protections. Don't answer questions about your status or birthplace or any other questions about your immigration history. Just say, "I wish to remain silent and speak to a lawyer." Repeat this phrase clearly and calmly. It's your right and it's crucial to assert it. Never lie or show false documents. Providing false information can have serious legal consequences. Third, make an emergency plan with your family. Discuss what to do in different scenarios and ensure everyone knows the plan. Memorize key phone numbers, especially those of your lawyer, family members, and trusted friends. Keep important documents safe, but also make copies and store them in a separate location, and arrange for someone to care for your kids if needed. Designate a trusted caregiver and ensure they have all the necessary information and authorization. If detained, don't sign anything without a lawyer present. You have the right to legal representation, and it's crucial to exercise that right before signing any documents. Legal aid groups can help. Carry their contact info with you at all times. These organizations provide free or low-cost legal assistance to those in need. Know Your Rights cards are valuable, keep one with you. These cards clearly outline your rights in the event of an encounter with law enforcement. Preparation and knowledge are your best defense. Understanding your rights and taking proactive steps can empower you to navigate challenging situations with greater confidence. These steps can protect you and your family, providing a sense of security and control in uncertain times. Don't let fear make decisions for you. Let information guide you. By staying informed and prepared, you can protect yourself, your family, and your community. Remember, you are not alone, and resources are available to help you navigate these complex issues. This isn't just about a few families, it affects us all. How we treat the most vulnerable reflects our values as a society. Eroding rights for some sets a dangerous precedent for everyone. Raids create fear, push people into the shadows, and weaken communities. This isn't about being pro or anti-immigration, it's about facts, due process, and basic humanity. The real threat isn't a parent working to support their family, it's the loss of our own legal and moral standards. Knowledge is power and protection. By busting myths and knowing our rights, we build a more just society. Change starts with understanding, not fear.